The planet Eloria glimmered in the distance like a jewel in the black void of space. Its cities floated above vast oceans, with towers of crystal and light that reflected the soft, golden glow of the twin suns. From orbit, the world looked perfect, serene, untouchable. Yet within the royal palace, a quiet desperation had settled over the halls like a shadow that would not lift. Princess Lysera lay in her chambers, her body frail and pale. The air around her shimmered faintly with the subtle hum of alien technology designed to monitor every heartbeat, every breath. Despite the best efforts of Eloria's greatest physicians, her condition continued to worsen. The doctors whispered in corners, consulting complex instruments and formulas that humans could barely imagine, yet none could find a solution. King Malvian, ruler of Eloria, paced the royal hallways, his long robes brushing the marble floors. His face, usually calm and measured, was drawn tight with worry. The princess's illness had confounded everyone. He had summoned experts from across the galaxy, yet nothing had worked. His daughter's life, the future of the royal line, hung by the thinnest of threads. In a rare moment of vulnerability, he spoke aloud to himself. If even the greatest of Eloria cannot save her, perhaps someone from outside can. Eloria prided itself on centuries of knowledge, believing their science superior to that of any other species. Yet desperation made the king willing to do the unthinkable, reach beyond the stars for aid. 500,000 light-years away, in a small, bustling human city on Earth, Dr. Ethan Cole was finishing a late-night shift at the city's central hospital. His clinic was modest, filled with instruments both modern and improvised. Ethan had a reputation among humans for tackling cases no one else could solve, often combining unconventional methods with pure intuition. He had been called reckless at times, but his success rate was unmatched. As he packed away his tools, a soft chime from his communicator interrupted him. A holographic message flickered to life in the dimly lit room, showing the distant emblem of Eloria. The voice that spoke was calm but urgent. "Dr. Ethan Cole, we request your assistance. Elorian Princess Lysera is gravely ill. Her condition is beyond our understanding. Your arrival is requested immediately." It was unlike any official call he had received before. To hear an alien civilization request his help directly was astonishing. A part of him felt excitement, a thrill at the challenge. But another part, the cautious part, warned him of the unknown dangers. He rubbed his chin. "This is either a monumental opportunity or a trap," he muttered to himself, but curiosity won over hesitation. He prepared quickly, gathering medical kits, personal instruments, and a few experimental devices he had been developing. He boarded the human interstellar vessel bound for Eloria, the engines humming as it left Earth's orbit and dove into the infinite black. The journey was long, and during it, Ethan reviewed what little information the alien envoy had provided. The princess's symptoms were strange: rapid physical deterioration, abnormal energy readings in her cells, and something the aliens referred to only as symbiotic interference. He had never encountered such a condition. It was like trying to solve a puzzle where half the pieces came from another dimension. When Ethan finally arrived, the sight of Eloria took his breath away. The city gleamed under twin suns, towers rising like spires of light. The landing zone was a grand platform of crystal, where alien guards clad in reflective armor awaited him. They studied him with a mixture of suspicion and awe. Humans were rare here. One standing among them was almost unbelievable. King Malvian greeted Ethan personally, his expression grave but polite. "Doctor, we have little time. The princess's condition worsens with each hour. Our greatest healers have tried every method known to us. If you fail, she may not survive until tomorrow." It floated above a pool of luminous water, the walls made of a translucent material that shifted colors with her pulse. Instruments hovered around her, monitoring every movement, every change in her energy patterns. Yet despite the advanced technology, there was a fragility about her. Human eyes might have mistaken it for weakness, but Ethan sensed something different. She was strong in a subtle way, yet trapped in a body that refused to obey life. He approached cautiously, observing her breathing, the slight tremors in her hands, and the dim glow in her eyes. Unlike the alien doctors, Ethan did not immediately rely on readings. He placed a hand near her wrist, feeling the rhythm of life directly. He whispered softly, almost to himself, "There's something more here, something they can't see." Deviating could endanger her. Unlike the aliens, who relied on complex algorithms and predictive models, Ethan watched and listened, noting subtle changes in her energy flow, her heartbeat, and even the slight color shifts in her skin. Slowly, a pattern emerged, something that the alien doctors had overlooked. It was a microscopic organism, almost invisible even to the sophisticated sensors of Aloria. It had integrated itself into her system in a way that mimicked genetic flaws. The aliens had assumed the condition was inherited, untreatable, but Ethan recognized it from his studies of microbes and human symbiotic relationships. It was alive, responsive, and possibly curable. He outlined his plan to the king. "We can remove it, or at least neutralize it, but the method is delicate. It requires a combination of precision medicine and timing. If we miscalculate, it could get worse before it gets better. Your daughter's life depends on action, not hesitation." He worked with precision, aligning alien technology with human medical tools, creating a system of treatments that no one else could imagine. Every step required concentration. Every decision could be a matter of life or death. Hours passed. Ethan monitored her, adjusted his methods, and observed the alien organism responding to his interventions. Slowly, imperceptibly at first, signs of improvement appeared. Her pulse stabilized, her color improved, and the tremors in her hands lessened. The alien doctors, watching in disbelief, began to realize that the human doctor was achieving what they could not. As dawn approached, Ethan stepped back, exhausted but satisfied. Princess Lysera's breathing was steady, her body no longer racked with uncontrolled energy surges. The faint glow in her eyes hinted at life returning, fragile but unmistakable. King Malvian entered quietly, witnessing the scene. Relief washed over him, mingled with awe. "You saved her?" he asked, almost unable to believe it. Ethan shook his head slightly. "We saved her. She responded to the treatment. She's not out of danger, but she's alive. That is a start." Hope returned, fragile but real. Ethan knew this was only the beginning. Many challenges remained, from understanding the princess's unique biology to navigating the complex politics of the royal court. But one thing was certain. Humanity had made its mark on Aloria, and the story of the human doctor who dared to challenge the impossible was just beginning. As the twin suns rose over the crystal towers, casting golden light across the palace, Ethan allowed himself a quiet moment of satisfaction. Against impossible odds, against centuries of alien knowledge, he had found a solution. And in doing so, he had proven that human ingenuity, courage, and compassion could bridge worlds. The palace of Aloria was alive with quiet tension. Word had spread quickly through the halls that a human doctor had managed to stabilize the princess when all others had failed. Whispers followed Ethan wherever he went. Some spoke in awe, marveling at his skill and courage. Others muttered suspicion and doubt, unwilling to accept that a species so young, so untested in the galactic arena, could succeed where centuries of Alorian science had not. Ethan walked slowly through the crystal corridors, his mind occupied with the next steps. Saving Lysera's life was only the beginning. Her recovery was delicate, and the alien organism within her still lingered like a shadow, not fully defeated. He needed to understand it completely before it could return, stronger and more dangerous. In her chamber, Princess Lysera slept, her breath steady but shallow. Her skin had regained some color, a soft lavender glow in contrast to the paleness that had gripped her before. Ethan studied her closely, noting the subtle shifts in her energy, the faint irregularities in her pulse. Every human instinct told him that there was more to this illness than met the eye. He began his analysis using a combination of human techniques and alien technology. Microscopic scans, energy fluctuation readings, and genetic probes revealed patterns that the Alorian doctors had missed. The organism inside Lysera was intelligent, not in the way humans understood intelligence, but responsive, adaptive, almost cunning. It had evolved alongside the princess's biology, hiding within her systems in ways that made it appear as part of her own DNA. "This is remarkable," Ethan murmured to himself. "It's not just a parasite, it's symbiotic in a way they've never seen. I need to observe, learn, and then act. She is responding now because her body is willing to fight, if I give it the right guidance." He discovered that certain energy frequencies disrupted its function temporarily, allowing her body to regain strength. But the effect was short-lived. A permanent solution would require a precise combination of treatments timed perfectly, a method no Alorian had considered because it required flexibility and intuition rather than rigid adherence to protocol. Meanwhile, the court was restless. The king had requested Ethan remain in the palace, not only to treat the princess, but also to monitor her condition continuously. This placed Ethan in the center of Aelorian society, and he quickly realized that not all eyes on him were friendly. Some of the elder physicians resented his presence. They whispered in corridors and meeting rooms, questioning whether a human should have authority in their realm. One evening, as the twin suns set, casting long golden shadows across the palace, Thalon confronted him privately. "Doctor," he said quietly, "you do not understand our ways. Our methods are based on centuries of observation, tested and proven. You risk everything with your improvisations. But the king will hold you accountable if anything goes wrong." The treatment required precision timing, as even a second too early or too late could harm the princess's delicate system. He instructed the alien physicians to assist, carefully explaining each step. Some followed hesitantly, others resisted openly, but all knew they had no choice if they wanted the princess to survive. The procedure began, and the atmosphere in the chamber was tense. The princess's body responded to the treatment slowly at first, her systems adjusting to the foreign intervention. Ethan monitored every detail, adjusting the flow of energy, calibrating the microfilter, and watching for the organism's reaction. For hours, the team worked in silence, the only sound the soft hum of machines and the gentle rise and fall of Lysera's breathing. At one point, a sudden spike in her readings caused alarm. Ethan moved quickly, recalibrating the energy modulators and adjusting the microfilter. "Stay calm," he said to the alien doctors, his voice firm. "Panic will not help. Focus and observe." Slowly, he found the pattern, the key to stabilizing the interaction. As he applied the final adjustments, a soft glow spread through the princess's body. Her pulse strengthened, her energy normalized, and the organism's activity diminished. For the first time in days, there was a sense of relief in the chamber. The alien doctors stared in amazement, unable to fully comprehend what they had witnessed. Thalon, usually stern and composed, nodded in quiet respect. You are remarkable, doctor." "This is not the end." Ethan sat beside her, encouraging her gently. "I'm Ethan. I came to help you, and we will keep working together until you are fully well." "Sometimes that helps." One evening, as he reviewed the princess's progress, King Malvian entered the chamber. The king's expression was serious but tinged with relief. "Doctor, you have done what I feared impossible, but tell me, what is this organism? Can it truly be removed?" "We may not be able to remove it entirely, but we can control it, neutralize its harmful effects, and allow her body to heal. The key is to continue careful treatment and observation." The organism was clever, adaptive, and unpredictable. Any misstep could undo the progress they had made. He resolved to study it further, combining human ingenuity with alien technology to find a long-term solution. Meanwhile, Princess Lysera's curiosity about humans grew. She asked questions about Ethan's world, his species, and how humans approached medicine so differently from the precise, formulaic methods of Aeloria. In answering her, Ethan realized something remarkable. Humans had an edge not because of superior technology, but because of their adaptability, creativity, and empathy. These traits allowed them to see solutions where others saw only limitations. One afternoon, as Ethan adjusted the microfilter's settings, the princess spoke quietly from her bed. "Doctor, do you think my people will accept you? You are alive, and your life is proof that collaboration, courage, and new ideas can achieve what tradition alone cannot." The alien doctors, initially skeptical, began to study his methods, some grudgingly acknowledging the value of human intuition. Thalon, once Ethan's harshest critic, now observed silently, learning from every decision Ethan made. Yet the palace was not free from danger. There were those who feared human influence, those who whispered in shadowed corridors about what might happen if outsiders gained too much trust. Ethan understood that saving the princess was only the first step. He would need to navigate these political currents carefully while continuing his work. Despite the uncertainty, a sense of purpose drove him forward. He had come to Aeloria as a stranger, an outsider, and yet he had found a place where his skills, courage, and creativity could make a difference. The princess's life had been saved, at least for now, and humanity had proven its value on a distant world. As the twin suns set once more, casting a golden glow across the palace, Ethan sat beside the princess, reviewing his notes and planning the next stages of treatment. The path ahead was uncertain, full of challenges, but he welcomed it. He had learned something important already. Sometimes, the greatest victories come not from following rules, but from daring to think differently, to trust intuition, and to act with courage when hope seems lost. And on Eloria, the story of the human doctor who dared to challenge centuries of knowledge had only just begun. Days passed in the palace of Eloria, each one slower than the last, filled with a mix of hope and quiet worry. Princess Lysera was recovering, yet the human doctor, Ethan, knew that her journey was far from over. The alien organism that had invaded her system was clever, adaptive, and unpredictable. It had not been defeated, only restrained. Every hour that passed without a new treatment was an opportunity for it to regain strength. Ethan moved carefully through the palace, studying the princess and the tools at his disposal. He combined his knowledge of human medicine with the alien devices around him, creating experiments designed to probe the organism's weaknesses. Unlike the alien doctors, who relied on rigid protocols and algorithms, Ethan relied on observation, intuition, and a willingness to try unconventional approaches. One morning, Lysera awoke with a subtle shiver, a faint tremor running through her hands. Ethan noticed it immediately. Her energy readings were slightly off, but not drastically so. Still, he frowned. This was a warning sign, a small fluctuation that could grow into a crisis if left unchecked. "Doctor," she said quietly, her voice weak but curious, "is it coming back?" Sometimes this organism shows strength in small ways before it becomes dangerous. Some of the other doctors exchanged uneasy glances, whispering doubts among themselves. The first step was careful observation. Ethan monitored the princess for any reaction, noting her vital signs, energy patterns, and subtle color shifts in her skin. Hours of patient study revealed a small but significant pattern. The organism responded to changes in temperature and energy flow in ways the aliens had never considered. "This is it," Ethan said to Thalan quietly. "We can use this pattern to destabilize it permanently, but we have to be precise. Even a small mistake could trigger a severe reaction." "Proceed." Ethan's hands moved quickly, adjusting settings, applying treatments, and observing the smallest changes. The alien doctors, who had never witnessed such improvisation, watched in silent awe. They had spent years studying similar conditions, but had never considered a treatment that relied on flexibility, creativity, and intuition. Hours passed, and the princess's condition worsened before it improved. Ethan remained calm, his mind sharp despite exhaustion. He knew the organism was testing her defenses, probing for weaknesses. He adjusted the treatment, countering its every move with careful precision. At one point, Lysera's energy readings spiked dramatically, causing the monitors to flash red. Ethan leaned over her, speaking softly but firmly. "Steady, steady, you can do this." Ethan smiled faintly, though he did not relax. "We're not finished yet," he said. "We've slowed it, but it's still in her system. We need continuous treatment and monitoring. Any lapse could undo our progress. You see things others cannot. Can it truly be controlled? But understand this, trust is fragile in this court. Some will resent you, and some may try to undermine your work." Ethan taught the alien doctors how to monitor the organism's behavior, showing them patterns they had never noticed before. Some were skeptical, but others began to see the wisdom in his approach. Thalan, in particular, became a close observer and ally, learning from Ethan's methods and gradually adopting them in his own work. Despite progress, tension remained in the palace. Some officials whispered against Ethan, arguing that a human had no place in the royal court. They feared that dependence on him would weaken Eloria's traditions and authority. Others, however, saw the results and could not deny the effectiveness of his methods. One evening, as Ethan reviewed data in the princess's chamber, Lysera spoke quietly from her bed. "Doctor, do you think they will accept you fully? Perhaps we have been too cautious, too proud. There is wisdom in what you do." One morning, the organism appeared to shift its strategy, responding to the treatment in ways Ethan had not predicted. Lysera's readings fluctuated dramatically, and for a moment, it seemed that all progress might be lost. Ethan's heart raced, but he forced himself to remain calm. Panic would only worsen the situation. He studied the readings, tracing the subtle energy changes in her system, and realized something remarkable. The organism was intelligent in its adaptation. It was testing the limits of their approach, probing for weaknesses. Ethan understood then that a new strategy was required, one that combined human intuition with alien technology in ways never attempted before. He spent hours recalibrating the treatment, adjusting energy modulators, and fine-tuning the microfilters. The alien doctors assisted, some reluctantly, some with growing admiration. Thalon remained at his side, following every instruction precisely. The tension in the chamber was almost unbearable, every heartbeat amplified in the silence. Finally, after a long and exhausting process, Lysera's readings stabilized. The organism's responses weakened and her body began to show signs of recovery. Ethan leaned back, exhausted but relieved. "We've done it for now," he said softly. "But vigilance is the key. We must continue to adapt, continue to observe, continue to fight." She smiled faintly at Ethan, a smile of trust and gratitude. "You have saved me again. I do not know how to thank you." "Doctor, your skill is extraordinary. But tell me, what makes you humans so effective in ways we cannot understand?" Sometimes tradition alone is not enough. The organism was still in Lysera's system, and he knew that future challenges would test him even more. But for the first time, he felt that humanity had a true place on Eloria, not just as an outsider, but as a partner, a healer, and a force capable of bridging worlds. As the twin suns set, casting golden light across the palace, Ethan continued his work, monitoring, adjusting, and planning for the next stage of treatment. Every small improvement in Lysera's condition was a victory, and every setback was a lesson. And somewhere deep within him, Ethan knew that the story of a human doctor saving an alien princess was far from over. There were greater challenges ahead, both from the clever organism that still lived inside her and from the politics of a world not yet ready to fully embrace human ingenuity. But one truth had become clear. Humans, with their creativity, courage, and adaptability, could achieve what others believed impossible. And in the palace of Eloria, that truth was beginning to shine like a light across the stars. The palace was quieter than usual, the halls glowing softly under the twin suns as evening approached. Princess Lysera had recovered steadily under Dr. Ethan Cole's care, yet her condition was still fragile. The organism that had threatened her life remained stubbornly within her body, clever and adaptive, testing every treatment he devised. Ethan knew that the next step would be the most difficult. He had to find a way to neutralize it completely, or at least reduce it to a state where it could no longer harm her. He worked in her chamber for hours, examining data and calibrating devices. Alien technology had limits, and while it was advanced, it had never been used in combination with human intuition before. Ethan had spent days perfecting a treatment that would synchronize both human and Elorian methods. It was delicate, precise, and risky. If he miscalculated, it could be catastrophic, but failure was not an option. The princess's life hung in the balance. Lysera watched him quietly from her bed. Her gaze was clear, sharp, and full of curiosity. She had grown stronger, but her body still trembled occasionally, a faint reminder of the organism's presence. "Doctor," she said softly, "do you think this will finally work?" "Your body wants to fight this. I'm just helping guide it." Ethan addressed the group calmly. "This treatment will require perfect timing and constant observation. We will work together, following my instructions carefully. Any deviation could harm the princess." The organism, sensing the pressure, reacted unpredictably. Energy surges ran through Lysera's body, her pulse quickened, and tremors returned. Ethan's hands moved swiftly, adjusting calibrations, monitoring readings, and improvising as the organism tested their control. For a time, it seemed as though the treatment was failing. Lysera's energy readings spiked dramatically, and the alien doctors tensed. Ethan did not falter. He relied on his intuition, watching for subtle changes and responding in real time. Slowly, he recognized a pattern. The organism reacted in predictable ways when exposed to synchronized energy pulses combined with targeted filtering. He adjusted the sequence, guiding the treatment more precisely than ever before. The surges in Lysera's body began to subside, tremors lessened, and her pulse stabilized. The alien doctors watched in amazement as Ethan manipulated both human and alien technology seamlessly, creating a harmony that had never existed before. Hours passed. Ethan did not rest. He monitored every change, ensuring the organism could not regain strength. Finally, the readings showed a clear decline in its activity. Lysera's body was stabilizing, her energy returning to a healthy glow, and her pulse was strong and steady. The room was silent for a moment, the weight of success settling over them. Ethan leaned back, exhausted but relieved. "It's working," he said softly. "The organism is under control. She's stable." His expression was a mix of relief and awe. "Doctor, you have done what no one else could. You have saved my daughter. Your methods are extraordinary. You have earned my respect and my favor. That is how progress is made." Ethan guided her patiently, explaining how human intuition and observation often solved problems that rigid formulas could not. The court watched this transformation with fascination. Some remained skeptical, unwilling to accept that a human could achieve such success. Others, seeing the undeniable results, began to embrace the possibility that outsiders could bring value. Slowly, Ethan's influence grew, not through force, but through results and quiet demonstration of skill. One afternoon, the princess spoke softly to him. "Doctor, will you stay here? Teach us more. Help my people learn to combine what we know with what you have shown us. There is much to learn, and I believe humans and Elorians can achieve great things together. Your presence here is a gift, not only to Lysera, but to all of Eloria. The true strength lies in the princess, in your people, and in the willingness to embrace new ideas." Other doctors followed, some reluctantly, some with growing enthusiasm. The palace was alive with a new energy, a sense that progress was possible, that knowledge could expand beyond the limits of tradition. Lysera's health improved steadily. She moved through the palace, spoke with advisors, and even began participating in light training exercises to strengthen her body. Each step she took was a reminder of what had been achieved, not only the victory over the organism, but also the triumph of collaboration, courage, and ingenuity. One evening, as Ethan and Lysera watched the twin suns set from a balcony, she spoke quietly. "Doctor, you have shown me that humans are remarkable. You do not rely only on knowledge, but also on courage, creativity, and care. Perhaps that is what makes you strong. And perhaps humans are not just strangers to our world. They are partners, capable of helping us in ways we never knew. I wish to formally grant you my favor, a recognition seldom given to outsiders. You are welcome here in our court and in our kingdom as an honored ally." The palace staff, the doctors, and even some of the skeptical officials acknowledged the human doctor's achievement. For the first time, humanity had truly earned respect on Eloria, not through conquest or power, but through ingenuity, courage, and compassion. The princess's recovery was complete. Her energy was strong, her mind sharp, and her body resilient. She walked through the palace corridors without assistance, greeted the court with dignity, and spoke confidently about her plans for the kingdom. The shadow of the organism had passed, replaced by a light of hope and renewed strength. Ethan continued his work, refining treatments, training doctors, and monitoring the long-term effects of the organism's suppression. He knew challenges would come again, both from biology and from the politics of the court, but he was prepared. He had earned trust, built alliances, and proven that human ingenuity could make a difference in even the most alien of worlds. As the twin suns dipped below the horizon, casting a golden glow across the crystal towers, Ethan stood beside the princess. They watched the light reflect across the palace, both aware that their journey had only strengthened them. Humanity had proven its worth, not through weapons or force, but through courage, intelligence, and empathy. And in the palace of Eloria, the story of the human doctor who had saved a princess and earned a king's favor would be remembered for generations. The palace of Eloria shimmered in the early light of dawn, crystal towers reflecting the gentle glow of the twin suns. Princess Lysera walked through the corridors with ease, her movements steady and confident. The illness that had once threatened her life was now fully under control. The alien organism, clever and adaptive as it had been subdued and neutralized under the careful guidance of Dr. Ethan Cole. The princess paused in a grand hall, looking out over the floating gardens that stretched across the palace platforms. The flowers glimmered with dew, their colors more vivid than anything on earth. She breathed deeply, feeling the strength returning to her body, the energy flowing freely as it should. It was a feeling she had almost forgotten, a sense of life unbound by fear or weakness. Ethan entered quietly, carrying a tablet with the latest readings of her health. "Good morning, Your Highness," he said with a small smile. "Everything looks excellent. Your body has responded perfectly to the final treatments. You are fully recovered. I only helped guide the way. Your body, your spirit, they were always strong. That is what made all this possible. Your ingenuity, courage, and persistence have earned you a place in Eloria. You are welcome in our court, not merely as a guest, but as a valued ally and advisor. People came to see the human doctor who had achieved what no Elorian had thought possible. Many were amazed, some skeptical, but all could see the results. Ethan's presence had shifted perceptions of humanity. Where once humans were considered fragile and inexperienced, now they were respected for their creativity, adaptability, and courage. Lysera began asking Ethan to teach the court physicians his methods. He introduced ways to combine alien technology with human intuition, demonstrating how observation and improvisation could complement strict algorithms. Some doctors resisted, clinging to centuries-old practices. Others embraced the new methods enthusiastically. Slowly, the kingdom's approach to medicine began to evolve, blending tradition with innovation. Thalan, the alien doctor who had once doubted Ethan, became his closest collaborator. He had watched Ethan work, learning the value of flexibility and intuition. "I never imagined such an approach could succeed," Thalan admitted one morning. "You have opened my eyes to new possibilities. Our people can learn much from humans." She took a keen interest in medicine, fascinated by the way humans approached problems differently. She asked countless questions, eager to understand how intuition, observation, and creativity could complement precise technology. One afternoon, she spoke quietly to Ethan in the gardens. "Doctor, you have changed my life and perhaps even the future of Eloria. I want to make sure that what you've taught us does not fade away. I will teach our physicians, our leaders, and even our children to see the value in new ideas. You have shown me that strength comes not only from tradition or power, but from courage, creativity, and compassion." He trained physicians, advised the royal council, and even helped improve technology by combining human problem-solving techniques with alien engineering. Slowly, the kingdom became stronger, more adaptable, and more open to innovation. Despite his growing influence, Ethan remained humble. He continued to focus on his work, guiding treatments, observing responses, and refining techniques. His goal was not personal glory, but to ensure the princess's continued health and to leave a lasting impact on the kingdom. One evening, the princess invited Ethan to walk with her along the floating gardens. The twin suns were setting, painting the sky in shades of gold and violet. The city below shimmered with lights, the canals reflecting the beauty of the architecture. "Doctor," Lysera said softly, "your presence here has changed everything. You have saved me, taught us, and shown the value of humans. But more than that, you have shown me courage and kindness. These are qualities that cannot be measured in technology or data. They are what make your people remarkable. But we have one advantage: we never give up, even in the face of impossible odds. We adapt, we learn, and we fight for what is right. That is what allowed me to help you. Together, there is no challenge we cannot overcome." He had come to Eloria as a stranger, a visitor from a distant world. He had faced the unknown, overcome incredible challenges, and helped save a life. But more than that, he had built trust, inspired change, and proven that humans could make a difference even on a world far from their own. In the weeks that followed, the palace celebrated not only the princess's recovery, but also the collaboration between humans and Elorians. New medical programs were established, blending the strengths of both species. Children were taught to value creativity as much as precision, and the kingdom began to evolve into a place where tradition and innovation could coexist. Lysera, now fully healed, took an active role in these programs. She visited the physicians, learning and observing, always curious and always asking questions. She became a symbol of hope and resilience, showing her people that challenges could be overcome with courage, intelligence, and teamwork. Ethan continued his work, always patient, always observant. He guided treatments, refined procedures, and ensured that the knowledge he had brought to Eloria would be preserved. His presence became a bridge between worlds, a reminder that humanity's greatest strength lay not in weapons or dominance, but in creativity, courage, and compassion. One evening, as he reviewed the final readings from the princess's treatment, Lysera approached him quietly. "Doctor, you have changed our kingdom, and perhaps even our view of humanity. What will you do now?" "Then I will make sure your lessons are not forgotten. Eloria will remember what you have done and the value of humans who dare to challenge the impossible." The towers glimmered, the gardens glowed, and the people moved through the streets with renewed hope and energy. Humanity had proven its worth, not through force, but through courage, intelligence, and compassion. The kingdom of Eloria had been saved, the princess had regained her strength, and the future was brighter than ever. And in that moment, A human doctor from a distant world knew that he had left a lasting mark, a proof that humanity's spirit, ingenuity, and heart could bridge galaxies, change lives, and earn the trust and respect of even the most advanced civilizations. The story of Dr. Ethan Cole, the human who saved a princess and earned a king's favor, would be told for generations. It was a tale of courage, intelligence, and compassion, a reminder that no matter how far from home one might travel, humanity's greatest power was its ability to adapt, to care, and to overcome the impossible. And so, under the light of the twin suns, with the kingdom of Eloria safe and thriving, the legacy of humanity began, a legacy of hope, strength, and the belief that even in the vastness of space, one human could make a difference.